This video is going to be the most valuable telehealth funnel training you'll ever watch. I've personally spent over 24 hours analyzing top brands like Hims, Keeps and Row, and I've identified the key funnel strategies these brands are using to dominate the space. As someone who has worked with and audited over 50 telehealth brands, I'll be giving you an expert breakdown of everything from ad to email, so you can copy these same principles for your own brand to increase your LTV to CAC. Now, let's get started with part number 1, which is the offer. Now, going into the offer itself, which is the most important part most brands are missing. And having a strong offer is the easiest way to increase LTV to CAC, which means lifetime value to customer acquisition cost ratio. So you want to have a high LTV and low CAC, and if that's the case, you're usually golden as a business. A good example here is IM8. So obviously they're not a telehealth brand, but they're still in the health space, and they are framing their 3-month option as a 90-day transformation instead of just something like, this is a product, you buy it for 90 days and so on. You are selling a transformation when you're talking about health, wellness and weight loss and whatever in this specific industry. If you think about Alex Hormozy's $100 million offers, there's dream outcome times perceived likelihood of achievement divided by time delay times effort and sacrifice equals value. So you want to increase the dream outcome, how good it is. You want to increase the perceived likelihood of achievement, and you want to reduce the time delay as much as possible and reduce the effort and sacrifice as much as possible. And if you think about something like GLP-1s, that's pretty much the perfect value equation. You're getting a really good outcome, the likelihood of achievement, that's your job to make it seem achievable, but it is actually really likely to be achievable. Time delay is obviously still there. There's a little bit of effort and sacrifice, but your job as a brand is to reduce these by offering support, offering a proper lifecycle marketing engine that I'm expert in specifically, and so on. Now, going to this next stage here, which is ads, there's one simple thing the biggest brands are doing differently compared to somebody who is not making it with their ads and who is not succeeding with their ads. And it's super simple, it's straight volume. And as usual, it's something that, you're like, everyone knows this, can you give me something more? Can you give me a silver bullet? There is no silver bullet other than just pushing the volume, keeping it high and iterating fast. Because of meta and meta, this is one of the most important parts of running ads successfully. And so what are the ads? What kind of ads are these winning brands using? Obviously, they're using a lot of formats, but these are the 3 most interesting ones when I'm looking at the funnels. There's collab ads, which is basically, an example from Medvi here. They partnered with an influencer to launch a collab ad, which makes the ad feel more organic because it's not coming from a brand itself. It's coming from the collab partner's page, and it leverages their influence instead of the brand itself and brings authority in that way and brings familiarity, brings this kind of approachable feeling of the ad. Then there's organic ads. Pretty much the same. It's kind of like an organic content piece masked into ad. And since they are, mimicking the high-performing organic videos, they blend into the feed really well and they don't feel like ads, and they usually have cheaper CPMs because of those reasons. Here's an example from Hims. And then there's podcast ads, which is really popular angle as well right now. And these are performing insanely well at the moment. They carry a general authority that makes people listen. So here's again from Hims an example, this type of podcast creative ad where they're talking about the treatment, the pain points, the outcomes, and so on. Now, going into the third part, which is the quiz itself, all roads lead to the quiz. And this is where telehealth gets really unique. First of all, the congruence. If you look at the best brands, they make sure that the landing page is relevant to the ad. So if you look at Hims here, I've used the same example in the past, hair loss, there's an ad, there's a creative visible results in just 3 months, etc., etc. Then there's the quiz itself, which matches perfectly the intent from the ad. So there's a specific quiz for that specific reason. Then if it's about weight loss, again, weight loss creative, weight loss quiz. And then ED, same thing, creative, and then the quiz. And same thing, low T, and then the quiz itself. Secondly, they use these commitment slides, as I call them, in the questionnaire, in the intake, which is basically asking these questions that aren't necessarily for, needing the treatment or anything, but they increase the emotional commitment. So you can see here, what would reaching your goal weight mean for you, having more energy, etc. Because of my weight, I don't feel like myself, I lack confidence, etc., etc. And then, has anyone noticed or commented on your hair loss? Yes, no. Obviously, if somebody has commented on it, you kind of acknowledge it in the quiz, and then you're even more prone to actually getting started because you feel like you need the treatment even more. So they're making you aware of these kind of things, and they're kind of guiding you towards the right decision, which is the purchase. And then thirdly, the sales slides in the quiz. And these slides are purely for selling the solution and your brand. So if you can look at quiz here from Keeps, for example, you're going through the intake, and then in the middle of it, you can see these type of slides full of social proof, before afters, showing how the results look like. Our members see results in as little as 6 months. And then you can continue with the quiz. So social proof and then education as well. So here, for example, HIMSS, 83% of Americans are not the weight they'd like to be. Again, guiding you towards the decision that you are eventually making as a customer, as a patient. The email is the fourth part. So basically, this is what happens after the quiz. This is where lifecycle marketing starts. And not really, we already have some impact on the quiz side. We already have some lead collection forms on the website and so on. But the actual core of lifecycle marketing is on the email, SMS, and app notification side. And obviously, this is one of the most important parts of the funnel. And as someone who's worked with and audited over 50 telehealth brands, I've seen this completely change the brand economics, especially if you are able to crack the retention and increase the retention meaningfully. That can totally change the trajectory of your business. And I'm going to show you the exact strategies, but also if you just want a team of telehealth experts to run your lifecycle marketing for you, become a full embedded partner and work alongside your in-house team, you can click the first link in the description to book a call, audit with me. Now, the first principle regarding the email, regarding the lifecycle marketing, what happens after the quiz is, again, as always with marketing, congruence. And if you look at the top brands, they always segment customers by the treatment, by the intent, by these reasons. So look at here again, hair loss, the same ad, the same quiz, and then if we match the email, there's going to be a specific email for these people talking about that specific intent and treatment and interest of them. Same thing here, weight loss, ad, quiz, and then the email. And again, adding to these other ones to ED, there's the email at the end which matches, and then for TRT, there's email as well that matches the whole quiz and matches the whole creative as well from the ad side. Then there's abandoned quiz flow, abandoned questionnaire flow, which is basically the biggest leverage part of your whole lifecycle marketing system. Just relentlessly optimizing this flow is something that these big brands do really well, and that is what actually makes them convert more and more people. They're making these 1% tiny improvements time after time, testing these out week over week, and then eventually these compound. If you're, for example, even running one test in the abandoned quiz flow per week for the whole year, that's basically 52 tests already at high volume. That's definitely gonna move the needle. So they're hitting prospects when emotional engagement is at its peak, and multiple emails per day is even the volume that some of these are sending to keep the momentum going and to convert the hesitation into action. And about the volume specifically, the frequency, high volume isn't spam when it's actually personalized and speaks to real pain points. You want to kind of strike while the iron is hot. You want to talk with these leads when they are hot, when they are warm. And most brands are simply sending too few emails, not too many. So that's what you should be worried about more than sending too many. Here you can see from HIMSS even during the same day, there's more than just medication, and then hello again. We just need a few more details from you. So even 2 emails a day. We often do something like sending one email, then sending another one like 4 to 12 hours later when somebody signs up, and then 24 hours later after the first one, we send a third one. So basically 3 emails within the first day, and then after that, you stack these emails day after day. Then there's also this tactic of sending text-based emails from the founder, and in this case, usually even from the customer success or clinical team, care team, and so on. Yeah, well, it simply crushes because it's more personal. It feels like somebody actually cares about you. They come to you, ask you how you're feeling, how can we help you. And when it comes to telehealth specifically, this health and wellness industry, it really matters because people want trust, they want to be cared for. And if you can show that you actually care for them and are not just trying to sell them a product, it's much more likely for them to convert and stay. In a sea of corporate marketing speak, personalization catches people off guard and converts like crazy, like I said. So here you can see an example. This is from a founder. This is not a telehealth brand example, but you can use the same sort of tactic in telehealth, either from a founder if you're a smaller brand or from like a customer care team if you're a bigger brand. Now, if you want to copy our strategy completely, you can click the video here or on the screen right now if you're watching this video to watch our breakdown of the exact strategy we use to scale telehealth brands' lifecycle revenue. And I hope to see you in that one.